Hello YouTube. This is my review / modifications to the Manos Air mount. It's a tablet holder for musicians. I'm not a professional musician, but I like to play a little guitar and I like to have things close by and on hand. Actually, I got a break on this one. It retails for $49.99. I got it at Sam Ash, and no, I didn't get it at Sam Ash. I got it at Guitar Center. But actually, this one came with the optional side mount clamp, and it actually sells for $59. But it was sitting in amongst the $49, and I happened to get the salesperson to get it to me for $49, thinking that there was a problem with the price in the box. I didn't know. I didn't try to trick him or anything like that, but it turned out that way. So I saved 10 bucks on it. The reason I got that is because I purchased my new Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2-inch tablet, and I wanted to use it instead of turning all these monstrous pages and flipping through them when I'm playing, even though I'm not playing sets in a club or anything like that. I'd still like to be nice and convenient when I'm playing in my little studio here. Anyway, the biggest problem I had is that all of these mounts that are on the market today are selling for the size of the iPad. Everything's produced for the iPad. And this is a substantially bigger tablet than the iPad. And so I seen one video which actually had this mounted inside of the Manos Air mount, and I picked it up. Okay, the first problem I had once I got it all installed here is that there's no way in the world I could put this in here landscape. It's not going to happen, even though this is made so it'll twist from landscape into portrait, where you can actually put it in portrait first and then drop it in, lock it, then shift it into landscape mode. In landscape mode, where it's set, this thing is solid, it's not going anywhere because it's resting by gravity here. Problem I had is when I put it in portrait mode, which I needed when I was going to use something like my cheat music apps. I don't know if we can get to that. Mobile sheets. So now, of course, I want to read this in portrait mode. And I don't know if you can see, but it is actually sliding slowly down with the weight of this thing. I mean, it doesn't go really fast though, but if I sit this here for a while, I go downstairs with the heat and everything, 3 hours later, I hear a bang on the floor, and that's the whole thing dropping. Problem with this is, for some reason, let me get you off. That's another little problem with this, is that you actually have to grab both of these things to ungrip it. And who's going to be holding the tablet while you do that? But that's, it's a small problem. So the problem is that it's a very smooth surface on the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro. And even with the so-called textured faux leather back, it's really smooth surface. And the cushions on the clamp here are very smooth also. I mean, it's rubbery. It has a little resistance when I'm rubbing a thumb against it, but really little to no resistance when I put the tablet inside there. And so I found, like I said, it was sliding down constantly in that mode. I thought the first thing they should have done is made some better grips there that'll hold very smooth surfaces, and then probably even had a bottom rest on this thing so that it'll hold up by gravity. Now, like I said, I was getting ready to take it back, but I had two problems. First of all, is I had the wrong back section of mounts. These are removable in the back. And there's one made for smaller tablets. And it has this angle on it. Oh. Has an angle like an L. And it wasn't gripping pretty much at all on the tablet. And I thought, there's no in the world I'm going to be able to use this. Then I realized after watching a couple of videos that I had to pop those off and put the ones for the larger tablets on there, which are flat. So even, like I said, after I got that on there, I still had the problem with the tablet slipping. So now I said, okay, I got to figure out a way to modify this thing. At least it's a little better after I put the large mount cushions on there. I started off figuring out, okay, I got to figure out something to go onto this bottom adjustment screw here, where it'll come off of there. Something perforated will come off there, maybe a piece of angle iron. I'll bend it down first, come down the back of the tablet, and then over just to hook onto the bottom of the tablet. And I started with a nice piece of aluminum. Looks like a flat stock, approximately 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches, but more than likely 1 inch. So I drilled the hole first that's going to go through the screw there, what's going to be the main point of connection there. And then I started to bend the 90-degree angle inside, the first bend. And this aluminum actually just snapped after I put the 90-degree bend in it. Now, I don't know if heating it would have done any better, but I just really believe that it should have been able to bend 90 degrees without actually snapping. I don't know if it's just weak aluminum or some sort of aluminum alloy. I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist. Okay, so what it ended up doing, though, is I had a piece of perforated flat iron here, and this is not the real thin band stuff. It's fairly thick, and it has a little strength to it. It's a bit solid. So what I did first was I contoured around the first circle so I can make a sort of a nice smooth U-bend in it. I don't want to show you the complete finished unit yet, but this is what it looked like after I cut it around, and then of course sanded down the burrs so that I'll end up cutting myself with it. Then I made based on my tablet, because I'm sure depending on the tablet, it'll be a certain distance here with based on how this is flexed in. If it's a small tablet, obviously the distance from here is longer, and if it's a bigger tablet, which I have, the distance is a little shorter. The distance I had with the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro was 3 inches from this particular nut or brace point that I was going to put it on. So, actually, sorry, not 3 inches. The first distance was 1.5 inches. So I made 1.5 inch measurement from the center of the first circle down, and I made my first bend, a 90-degree bend. And based on my tablet, once again, the distance going down, and that will be based on where you want these pinch points to be, because you want to take into account where the buttons are, or speakers, or anything other jacks or outlets on your particular tablet. I decided to go 3.5 inch down and then come over, which all I needed was a 1/2 inch, but I figure I better bring it a full inch so that if I put a case on it or a cover of any sort, or just put some other device in it that happened to be thicker, it would actually fit. Actually, after I got that bent just properly, it ends up turning just like this. Now, you see that's a nice black rubber coating on there. Of course, I wanted that so I don't scratch my tablet or do any damage to the tablet. And that was simply done by dipping in the plastic dip. And they have many different manufacturers that make a product like this. This one is very good, by Performix. And I dipped it in there several times, let it dry. 4-hour cure time, and I ended up with this nice, beautiful brace point here. Okay, now to get it on there, the first thing we have to do is, of course, disconnect the bottom screw here. Just screw it right out. Now in there it has a lock washer. Now at first I thought of putting the lock washer here, and then I realized that there was a sort of a little space, a little groove or indentation under there also. So I realized that the lock washer is going to have to be up top. So I put the screw through first, and I put the lock washer after the fact. Okay, screw this on. on. There we go. Wasn't all the way in first. Now we're all the way in. So screw this down, you know, nice and tight. You don't have to horse it or anything like that because it's not really gripping anything. This is just supporting the tablet from gravity itself, which we have here on Earth, which Manos failed to take into account. So now I could actually slip this tablet in here, tighten down those again, and not only have a good pinch point on the sides, I have a nice resting point on the bottom here. Now, unfortunately, where I had to set it first, these buttons were half free, so I can get to that. But if I have to either make an adjustment to that or just press the button before time and just push it back down, it's not a big deal. So once I get into the mode I want to be in, all I have to do is swipe the screen. I won't have to get back to those particular buttons. And I could sleep and wake with the power button there. All right, so anyway, you see all my cheat sheets, and it's easy to work from now. It was a nice fix for me to not have to take that back and then scour the net once again looking for a mount that'll actually work, which I did anyway when I was planning on replacing it. And everything's made for an iPad, iPad 2, iPad Air, and the maximum dimensions were usually like a 10.1 inch screen. And as I said, with the 12.2, this beautiful 12.2, which is actually perfect for sheet music, I had to have something a little better. And so the Manos Air mount is actually really, really good for this with that modification. I'm hoping, well, mine's going to be gonna last. It's going to be very, very good as it is. But it would be nice if for other people they would actually make some sort of adjustments to this mount and make it easier for people to use without damaging their tablet. Okay, YouTube, that's about it.